I cannot believe what I am seeing as the Toronto Maple Leafs take down the Los Angeles Kings, improve the record to 3-1 in a game that saw a lot of players shine. We saw Bobby McMann, we saw Anthony Stolarz, and we also saw Craig Berube do something that we haven't seen out of a Toronto Maple Leafs coach in a very, very long time. So I'm going to break all that down on this stream. So welcome in, everybody. It is a late night. Matthews got his first goal. The power play is alive. They got a cheeky one at the end from John Tavares. A lot of things to be happy about if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And now they are 3-1 as we look ahead to a huge game on Saturday against the best team they've played so far in the New York Rangers. Darius, a lot to go over today. And I don't even really know where to start here. We're going to go through it all. But what a game from Bobby McMann. What a game from even Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. Everybody played well. The power play, which looked a little bit shaky even at the start of this game, was the huge conversation coming in. It started to come back to the mean a little bit. A couple of goals there. I mean, we'll have our 3 stars, don't worry. But Darius, what's up, everybody? Jose, Marshall, Shane, Tim. It's a late night, a late weeknight, so everyone who tunes in, thank you so much. We appreciate it. This game took quite a long time, but they got it done. The Leafs improved to 3-1. That is 3 straight wins following their opening night loss, and it's a good time to be a Leafs fan right now.
They're playing really well. And first of all, 50 of you in here right now. Let's get to smashing that like button. Let's get that up. We like to see numbers go up. And let's get a Go Leafs Go in the chat to start, because this was a fantastic game. And what a game from a couple guys like McMann and Nylander. Obviously, we're going to highlight that. We're going to get into some negatives too, because there's a couple of things I saw tonight that they got to clean up when they start playing better teams like the Rangers on Saturday. But what a game from Craig Berube. Tonight was a night where you can kind of see his worth shine as well, not just the players. So we're going to get into it for sure. And yeah, like the timeout up 5-2 is crazy. And I like crazy. That was a good move. Calm everyone down. It was kind of getting out of hand a little bit. Didn't like to see that. And everything kind of calmed down there. So love to see that. And they came out with a big win. Like there's so many times in the past, Nick, that I'm like, this game's over. They're up 2-3-0 in the first period. I'm like, this should be over. And they lose the game. And they didn't do that here. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Craig Berube. I'm sure you all saw it. It's going to be one of the bigger talking points here. He called the timeout, and a lot of us thought, hey, they might be challenging goaltender interference. It was not the case, as Jose showing some love. Thank you so much. Leafs win, yes. It is a great time. Shout out to everybody spamming Go Leafs Go in the chat. It is a great time to be a Leafs fan. This team looks so different. It's exciting. I mean, that's the only word. Thank you so much, Jose. You've been one of our biggest supporters. We appreciate you every single day and every single time you tune in. So Leafs did win. It's a big win. And again, everyone thought that they were maybe challenging goaltender interference. And no, it was just him cursing out the Toronto Maple Leafs, which was honestly, they needed it, because we'll get into, again, we're going to take the positive approach here because it was a phenomenal win. They could have cleaned things up. They need to clean things up, because if they play that way against the Rangers, it might be a bit of a different story, at least in especially the second half and the third period. They got outplayed for most of the third, even though they still won 6-2. But you can see Craig Berube's, like Ron, I was about to say, you took the words out of my mouth. You can see Craig Berube's influence out there. I mean, they're up 5-2. They just let in a goal. They let in back-to-back goals after being up 5-0. Not really to the fault of Anthony Stolarz, at least on the second one. And he just calls a timeout, and he just, we have the quote, I think, for you here, but he just rips him, basically, and profanity in it, but it'll be blurred out. But he just rips into him, and ultimately, that's what you want to see. We didn't see that much out of Sheldon Keefe, at least in, we wouldn't call a timeout up 5-2. Maybe behind closed doors, he'd rip him a little bit, but I loved what I saw from Sheldon Keefe, and I think that was the highlight of the game for me, was Craig Berube just coming in and absolutely, Sheldon Keefe wouldn't do that. Berube, you coming in and just yelling at him was the highlight of the game for me, among other things, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, he was really giving it to Holmberg too. And I mean, like, I don't know, it's just, there's just something about Berube that when he gets going like that, you're like, all right, I gotta listen. We gotta lock in here, and we gotta get playing again. And it's true. I mean, you could see the game slowly slipping away, where the Kings they outshot the Leafs. I believe this was the first time the Leafs were outshot this season. So the Kings
heavily.
were, starting heavily.
Given how the game played out.
Exactly, which doesn't matter as long as you win. Obviously, I don't mean like it never matters, right? But tonight it didn't really matter to me as long as you.
Sorry to interrupt you. In the opening night, the shots did not matter, and we lost to the Habs. So I mean,
exactly. So as long as you were able, like they were up 4-0, 5-0 at one point. Like you got to win that game. That's all that matters at that point. Like just play defense and a good team defense and win that game. Something that Landshark brought up just a couple minutes ago that I wanted to get into quickly, and I wanted to get into it now before I forget, and it's really just something to touch on. About the people in the arena. I thought maybe it was the sound mixing on Saturday. I thought maybe, Leaf fans are a little bored. Tonight, I know, guys, listen, and anyone who was there, I don't know if you'd be in here right now, but anyone who was there, I understand we want to catch the 10-17 go train. I get that. But like the Leafs just won 6-2 against the Kings. It's a huge win with a lot of really good performances. Maybe stay until the end. There's more trains. All right. I promise you'll get home. But I think that like 6-2 win, fantastic win. The horn goes off and there's like 30 people in the lower bowl. It's just a little
Give their
weird.
credit.
It was a
Late
little weird.
Wednesday, work day.
Sure.
But yeah, they
Yeah.
should. Also, what's up, Mo? Really glad to see you. I don't know if you were able to catch the game after. I know you were texting me earlier, but they destroyed the Kings. I don't know if destroyed is really the word. On the scorecard, they technically did. But yeah, corporate fans don't cheer. But that's why we're here. We're the ones who, Darius, when you go Saturday, Darius is going Saturday. You better stay. You better stay.
Yeah. Oh, I do always till
Even
the
if it
end, and
was-
I'm going to. I always stay till the end. I like to see the 3 stars and everything, and you got to stay till the end, man. And nothing will change Saturday when I'm there. I'm staying till the end. Never changes.
Never. ESPN Plus showed after Mo, then you got one of the better, most fun games to watch of the year. And let's go over some. Oh, what's up, Shane? As well, I know you're in here. Let's go over some of the box score here. And again, this was the game where after the second game, everyone's screaming, "Hey, the core four. I mean, the top 6 weren't getting points." It's starting to come back now a little bit. I mean, Austin Matthews had 3 points. Mitch Marner had 3 points. He's up to 4 assists now on the year. Matthews had a great goal, a phenomenal goal, 2 assists as well. Bobby McMann, though, is the highlight of this game. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if he's going to come out for the foreseeable future. I think he has to pencil himself in. And one of the biggest storylines coming into this game was, will William Nylander play? The answer was yes. But Max Pacioretty was the odd man out in this case. And there's a ton of different storylines to go over. And I'm curious to see what you all think about it in the chat. But I also have a shout out to another player, which we'll get into in a minute here. But, I mean, everyone's playing really solid here. And William Nylander, another goal for him. Like, Domi, 2 assists. There's so many players you can name in this game. And it's not just about points. It's about how they're playing. And you can see a shift in everything. Even Chris Tanev, again, with a great game. Great third period as well. I mean, everyone's playing their part here. And shout out to Stolarz. I've been preaching the 1A. We made a video on it today. He's the GOAT.
He is. And Marner even 3 points again tonight. Matthews 3 points again tonight, right? I wanted to bring something up, Nick. I think it's number 6, a screenshot here, but about the Leafs, this exactly. So the bottom 6 tonight was not good. A lot of people were making a lot of that, right? Bottom 6 was horrible tonight, but the top 6 carried them. Finally, they kind of showed up right in this game. Isn't that fine? Bottom 6 has been carrying the first couple games. Top 6 carry tonight. That might be the way the Leafs play. And I think that's okay, because in the past it's been top 6, top 6, top 6. Oh, top 6 is not going tonight. Bottom 6 is also not going because there's no identity and no purpose. And now we're going to lose this game. So I think that this is fine. This is okay, because if you look at these, the expected goals for the first 3 games, the fourth line has been like 91%. So yes, they had tonight off, even though I didn't think they were terrible. But yeah, I think that this specifically is fine. And I like that the top 6 got going, and they scored a power play goal. That's something we got to talk about too. Not only one, they scored 2. Yeah. So I mean, at least they started. Didn't start great, but at least they got rolling, and hopefully they feel better about themselves now.
Yeah. Bobby McMatthews not getting stretched again. I don't think so. Lily got to play tonight. How'd he do? Well, he did some things.
He's been instructed to play a certain way. He did that. Wasn't special, and I think that's what Berube is looking for. I didn't notice him, which I think was a good thing besides the penalty.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a weird situation with Liljegren. I still think he gets traded, to be honest, but yeah. I don't know. He's not making a super big impact, but I don't know. It's a very interesting one. Stolarz, the number 1, needs to steal the net back when he returns. Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're going to ride Anthony Stolarz as much as they possibly can. There's no doubt in my mind that he starts on Saturday. The biggest game of the year so far. Again, it's only 4 games in, so it's still not, every game matters, though, at this point. And seeing how the Leafs didn't give up tonight, not to give up in the sense of, I mean, they were winning the whole game, but I like the response after the Craig Berube timeout. I mean, they started to play differently. The possession, like, Kings had the puck most of the third up until that point, and then it seemed like something, whatever we'll call it a speech, whatever it was, it kind of flipped, and then they drew a penalty into a power play goal. Bit of a different look out of the power play as well. So some things going on here, and the power play looks decent. I still don't love their entries, but I'll digress a little bit. It's still struggling to get in, but their savior was OEL.
Even on that last goal, though, like the Tavares one on the power play, It only got done because Nylander was like, all right, I'm just going to do this myself. I'm just going to enter the zone myself and figure this out. And they got it to the net and scored, which is what you got to do. But OEL has looked fantastic. He's just another shooting option, right? Like Morgan Riley can maybe move the puck a little bit better than him on the power play, at least. But OEL on the power play, he's just more assertive. He's more direct, which is exactly what Berube's been looking for. So this is a guy that like he has to stay on power play one. It didn't look great again tonight. Like again, Nylander was the only reason these two goals were scored on the power play tonight because the first one, he's like, I'm just going to get this to the net and see what happens. And it went in. And the second one was, okay, we can't gain the zone. This looks very sloppy. Obviously, I think the guys know that they're up by a big score with only like 2 minutes left. So they're like, whatever, which is not the greatest mentality. But anyway, Nylander was like, I'm going to take it myself. I'm going to get the zone entry. And he did. And they scored. So Nylander, OEL, check marks for tonight on the power play at least, and I'm glad they got that going. But yeah, a couple things they got to clean up those zone entries. They got to clean up the setup. Like even when they're in the zone, it just wasn't great.
Yeah, Connor Timmins was the one. Like last game was out for Liljegren.
Yeah.
What's up, Eric? Mick Matthews is back. Matthews is back. He finally got on the board.
Go
ahead.
I wanted to touch on Liljegren before we move off that because we're going to obviously touch on the top six and Matthews as well. But before we move on, I agree with you. I think Liljegren's still getting traded. He took that cross-checking penalty. So yeah, maybe a lack of discipline and you wouldn't like to see him take a penalty because you're, putting your team in a bad spot there, but he's been directed by Berube to play a certain way. And he was doing that. So I don't know if I could fault him for that. And obviously the way the game was called too, the fact that that was a penalty. Okay, man, whatever. Interesting call there at that point in the game, but yeah, I mean, he took a penalty. You have to take that into consideration, but at the end of the day, he makes $3 million. He's like their 8th defenseman right now. And he's probably the odd man out, but you have extra guys right now, so we might as well play them within the month, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no harm until there is. So we'll see how he continues to play there. Tanev has been the rock of the defensive unit, and Jake McCabe again with a really good game. I mean, Morgan Riley obviously got a goal. Jake McCabe was a +3, not a be-all end-all stat, but he had 2 assists. He was on the ice for 3 of the 6 goals. So I mean, McCabe is starting to look again. He had a bit of a rough first game. He's starting to look solid, and again, you were pretty critical of that pairing to start the season. I think it's looking okay, at least through the first few games, OEL and Jake McCabe. So I don't know. I'm liking the way everything is looking here. Even the penalty kill, they killed 4 penalties. They didn't let up a goal on any of the Kings' power plays. And everything looks good to me. Like, there's obviously things that need to be worked on. There's things that need to be adjusted. But the biggest takeaway for me is that the response after Berube yelling was probably the biggest thing for me, that was the biggest change from what we've seen in previous years, but their play style as well. I mean, it looks like a completely different team in my eyes, and it's showing. They're now 3-1, and again, regular season is regular season, but there is a lot of talented teams that are struggling right now across the NHL.
Yeah.
So to get these wins early is going to be very, very crucial, especially, again, it hasn't been the easiest schedule to start the year. Obviously, the Canadians who beat us and the Kings aren't powerhouses necessarily, but a lot of games are being played, and they were speaking about it in the broadcast. You need to take care of these early, especially with your 1A goalie in theory out in Joseph Woll, and Stolarz is going to run away with the job, and it may have been a blessing in disguise for the Leafs.
Yeah, I don't think you want to start your season like the Oilers last year, even though they made it to the Stanley Cup final. Like, I don't think that's, or I guess this year, or the Canucks, right? Like, I don't think that's a blueprint for success. Start winning. Just start winning. Put yourself in a good position. You don't want to play catch up all year. That's not a good spot to put you in. Or even like Nashville last year. Yeah, this great Cinderella story that they made the playoffs. Don't put yourself in that position. Just win games, right? Start off good and maintain that throughout the year. And I think that is going to be key for the Leafs. But one thing I thought was very interesting, and it's very apparent now that we're 4 games into the season, is the special teams and how different and polar opposites they are right now, because obviously you scored 2 power play goals tonight, but they are, if you look at the percentage for the whole on the season, not good. The PK again tonight, pretty good. We saw a couple issues the other night and obviously throughout the season so far, but tonight it was very good. And I think it's interesting because power play has a new coach. Penalty kill, not necessarily, right? Like Lane Lambert came in, he's a new coach, but it's still Mike Van Ryn from last year. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They're trying new things on the PK, but that's looked good. Power play hasn't looked good. I thought that was pretty interesting just to note before we move on.
Still went 2
from the
for
special
4.
teams.
Still went 2 for 4. But
tonight
against the Kings, shaky goaltending. So they're going to have to execute better against the good teams. But at the end of the day, they're getting goals, and to be able to do that is good. What do you think about Nick Robertson? It's looking shaky. I think he had a good few games today. I think it was probably his worst game. But again, he's still not really playing bad per se. It's what are your thoughts on it, Darius? I've been meaning to ask you about it. Nick Robertson's an interesting situation. I believe he's still pointless now on the year.
Mhm.
So again, that's not the be all end all, especially for a guy like I mean, you want to see more goals, but I don't know. It's just a weird. He's playing fine. I think that's the best way to put it. Playing fine. I'm not sure. Thank you, Marshall, for tuning in. I appreciate. Also hit the
Thank you,
like button
Marshall.
if you're new. Shout out to everybody in here. Let's get to 50 likes. We're at 31, so 19 away from 50. But Darius, thoughts and leave in the chat as well. Are you happy, mid, or disappointed with Nick Robertson's performance so far? Type in the chat right now. I'm curious to see.
I thought Robertson looked great tonight, and I think he's looked great all season. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I think he is a victim right now of some turbulence throughout the lineup. Obviously, we saw Tavares out the other night. Like he has a lot of different line mates often, right? And obviously, Pacioretty, him and Pacioretty, I thought they've been playing well together, and Pacioretty was taken out tonight. And I'm not going to look too much into it. We know Pacioretty wasn't going to play 82 games, and they have that depth. You might as well use it. McMann had a great game tonight, so I think Robertson's looked great. I'm not going to lie. Like, are we expecting him to score 20, 25 goals? Yes, I still think that, right? And I thought he was going to play in the top six. And I think he's going to get going. I think he is. But if you look at his play, off the puck, like I personally, from what I'm seeing, I thought he played great tonight. He's playing tenacious. He's getting in on the forecheck. He's throwing hits. It just hasn't fallen for him and he's not scoring, but the Leafs are winning games. And I think that's fine. It's not about, any individual performance, at least tonight or when you're winning. I think the Leafs just need to win and play a better team game and have everyone involved throughout the season. And I think he's finally, he's going to find it. He's definitely going to find it and start scoring. That's what he does best. And he scored 5 preseason goals, but he was on power play 1 for most of those games, right? And the top guys weren't playing. So obviously those opportunities go away. And we saw it again tonight. Doesn't have much time to even, work on the power play either, right? So I think his time will come, but off the puck and even on the puck, like when he's on the ice, I think he's been playing great, honestly. I'm not going to lie. And, it just hasn't fallen for him in terms of point production yet, but I think he's been good. But again, I'm a since the summer, noted Nick Robertson defender.
Yeah. He got about 50 seconds tonight among all the power plays on the on the power play. And I said his worst game of Leafs so far this season. I still stand by that. That being said, I think he's played very solid so far anyways. I think tonight he was probably the least noticeable out of all the nights. But at the same time, like, he hasn't really, I don't think there's been a huge delta between his worst game and his best game. I think he's just been pretty solid mid for me. But he's doing all the little things. And again, you want to see some more points, though, out of Nick Robertson one way or the other. And I think it's going to come. Again, you mentioned it. He changed lines tonight. He's been changing lines. But we can touch on Bobby McMann for a minute here because I think that he's going to be the guy who they can't take him out of the lineup right now. He's on fire. He's playing very well. Who they take out is up in the air. I wouldn't believe they take out Nick Robertson. Maybe it's Pacioretty again. Maybe it's Pontus Holmberg after the game tonight. Probably is Pontus Holmberg after the game tonight. David Camp, I think, is playing okay. Again, he's not great. He's also another guy who's kind of playing mid, but he won a critical face-off there when the momentum was shifting towards the end of the game. That's what he's there to do. He's only giving you 11 minutes a game, 10 to 12 minutes a game. Thank you for tuning in, Focal Place. I think Bobby McMann is going to be good, and I'm seeing some funny tweets out there about saying the reason the Leafs lost in the playoffs was because they haven't had Bobby McMann in there, and maybe that's the truth.
No, last year I don't think having McMahon would have made a difference in that way, unfortunately. But yeah, no, he's a great player, and he didn't show it in the preseason, but I think he's showing it now, his worth. And we knew what was there. It just was going to take him a couple games to get up to speed or whatever he was lacking. And obviously he was still dealing with that injury too. So no, he's back. He looks great. Can't take him out. Pacioretty, I think, will be in and out all season. I think we kind of knew that. Was that the expectation? I'm not sure if people were thinking that. That's kind of my thought on it, at least coming into the season, that he was going to be in and out, and that's fine. And he'll serve his purpose, and that's fine. But you still have like Yarncroke waiting in the bushes over here, waiting for his opportunity.
Trade's gonna happen.
A trade's gonna come. They got to make some space here. Obviously, they want to roll with some depth. Like, you don't want to have exactly the amount of players that you need, because if there's an injury, you don't want to dip into the Marlies right away. But yeah, I think a lot of guys are fighting for a spot right now in the next month. But I don't see, for them to go through that whole thing with Robertson in the summer, I don't see them trading him. I think he's played fine, honestly. I do. he needs to score. Like, that's for sure. Like, that's got to get going. If we're 15 games in, he hasn't scored, he has 1 goal, then yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit worried. But again, he's in and out with a bunch of different line mates. He's got to get going. He's got to figure it out offensively. And I think that he will, because that's his game. But besides that, I think he's doing exactly what Berube's asked of him. And he's cleaned up a lot of things, I think. And he's tracking pucks pretty well. And he's back checking. Like, he won a couple puck battles tonight, back checking. So I think he's been all right on the Nick Robertson side. But there's a lot of guys waiting. There's a lot of guys waiting for their opportunity. So I wouldn't take McMann out. If your original question was who comes out
Holmberg or
from
Reeves?
at this point, yeah, that's what it is.
Probably
And
Holmberg.
Reeves serves his purpose, and Reeves will probably play Saturday because Rempe's going to play. But after that, give him a break for a bit. I don't know, like, just
He's not really
cycle
doing
around a
much.
couple guys.
He's not really doing much out there, but you don't really expect much out of him. Patch is getting 50 game, max 35 game performance bonus. I think he'll probably get at least the 35. And yeah, I mean, stuck in all this is the fact that the Leafs still have Connor Dewar waiting soon, Yarncroc, Yanni Hakanpää. There's a lot of guys left, and the blue line specifically is looking very good. Again, ESPN has Steven Lorentz as a defenseman for whatever reason. Maybe one day they'll fix it, but like McCabe,
At this point, probably not.
yeah, probably not. McCabe, Riley, Tanev, Benoit, OEL, and Liljegren. I mean, Liljegren's the only. I mean, Benoit's been playing his part as well, another 20 minutes tonight. But like that blue line is, especially the first two pairings, has been so good.
So good, and locking everyone down. And Tanev is that unsung hero. He could go the whole year without scoring a goal, and he will serve his purpose perfectly. And he has been so far. I mean, he's been fantastic. So, I want to see real quick too. Put some boxing glove emojis in the chat if you're excited for Rempe versus Reeves too, which is probably going to happen on Saturday. I can't see it not happening. I don't think the Leafs would not play Reeves, especially a Saturday night against the Rangers, one of the better teams in the NHL. So I'm excited for that. That should be some fun as well if it ends up happening. But yeah, I mean, the defense has been fantastic, Nick. I mean, there's not much to say. Like, yeah, there's a couple hiccups here and there, right? And we saw that tonight. But I think there's going to be over the course of a season and in a game, right? And I think that's okay because it's going to happen, right? But as long as you clean that up and for the most part, they look steady, which they have. And like you said, like I was saying in the preseason, OEL and McCabe wasn't going to work, right? But then we were kind of talking it out as the season started, and we're like, the styles kind of blend together all right, right? Like I kind of like what Berube and Mike Van Ryan and I guess Lane Lambert have done with this. I think it's they've been playing pretty well.
Yeah, and is Rempe fighting a lot this season? Haven't been keeping up. I don't know.
I don't
for
think
sure.
he's fought yet, but he is throwing his body around from
Yeah.
clips I've seen on Twitter. He is. So if he does that on Saturday, Reeves is going to have something to say about it. So
Shout out to Scotty for the boxing gloves. Call me crazy, but I prefer Philip Myers over Timmins and Liljegren. Questionable. I think Timmins has been fine. I think Lillard. I mean, again, this is like I'm not too worried about I mean, at this point, the sixth defenseman. Like they're all playing fine. And again, you look at the advanced analytics. The Leafs have been top 5, and I forget the exact stat. You probably remember it, Darius. The point is, they're looking very good. They're looking extremely good.
we have that actually.
Okay,
It's the
well,
next one. Yeah. It's
somewhere.
one of these. I think
It's
it's
somewhere. I
the
probably
second one.
lost it. But either way, it's the Leafs are playing unbelievable hockey, and I wonder how much of that is attributed to just everybody buying in. The team looks like they're playing with a purpose out there, and
Mhm.
they did it against Sheldon Keefe. They're doing it against every team now. And the big test, though, is going to be Saturday. I mean, that's ultimately the big test. They've had a couple of, not easy games. There's no easy games in the NHL. The Devils are a very good team. That was one of the ones. But now I want to see how they perform on Saturday, prime time, hockey night in Canada, against one of the better teams in the NHL. And they're going to have to be better on the power play against a team like them. Igor Shesterkin, everybody, they're going to be locked in. The Rangers will obviously be. And if their power play is whack, it's going to be tough to score because they have one of, if not the best, probably one of the best goalies in the NHL, depending who you ask. They're going to need to be, they're going to need to play a little bit better on the power play, but I think everything else is going to come, and I'm curious to see what roster they line up with on Saturday. But again, another a couple days off at least before that game there, which is a little bit sad, but.
I'm actually very curious now that you bring that up about the lineup going into Saturday, because when you look at the
Good night, Tim.
Rangers, thank you for tuning in. When you look at the Rangers, one of the best teams in the NHL, obviously the best team in the NHL last year, like not in the playoffs, obviously, regular season, but one of the best teams in the NHL. They have the best goaltender in the NHL. Yes, I said that. They have the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. And what are you prepared to do about it on Saturday, right? This is a team whose power play is clicking for the most part in the New York Rangers, and your power play isn't. Your PK has been pretty good. Can that work against the Rangers power play, right? It's going to be a real test for the Leafs, and I would like to see what they do in this game because it's not going to be an easy one. This is their first like real test to me on a team that I expect to be top in the league. So I'm really excited to see what happens and who they ice and if it gets physical in that way because stuff's going to happen like we've mentioned with Rempe and Reeves. It should be fun, but yeah, best goaltender in the NHL. What are you going to do about it, right? You got to drive the net. You got to make them uncomfortable. And the Leafs, again, haven't done the best job at that so far this season. You've seen, little glimpses of maybe change in that way, but I haven't seen that, a huge sample size so far this year. So I want to see that Saturday. And if they can do that, then I don't know, they're going to start making me believe again very early.
And
so
you will be in attendance for
I will
that
be
game.
there.
So everybody wish Darius, hopefully he's good luck because it's going to, you're going to need it. But unfortunately, that means Darius won't be there for the post game stream. But maybe you can, will the team into a win. Because again, it's going to be a huge.
I'll yell at them.
Mark Lawrence was signed to a PTO and then converted to a 1 year, $700,000 deal or
league minimum deal.
League minimum deal. Yeah, so it's going to be a wild game Saturday. And that's, again, now we look into the next game. I mean, Domi had a very good game as well. We know before the game they were saying for Domi to shoot more. Berube wants him to shoot more. He did an okay job. He is facilitating great. I think Mitch Marner is playing great on both ends, defense and offense. But I don't know.
The funniest part of the game tonight to me was that that came out earlier in the day where it was like Berube is challenging Domi to shoot more, and Domi had the first shot of the game like 5 seconds into the game. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, he's right. And I think like he should be challenging Marner to shoot more because there was even an opportunity on a 2-on-1 tonight where I don't even know what happened. Like he should have just shot it, but I don't know. I think he's second guessing himself. Him and Domi too. They got to start shooting more, but it's fine. It'll come, right? And they're trying to break some old habits as well, and that's not easy to do. So it's going to take some time, but we're seeing signs of really good things. I'm liking it, right? So and Lorentz is a great story too. I've also seen a lot of people suggesting like Lorentz on the power play. That's not the issue. That's not the issue with the power play. And don't take Lorentz out of his element. He's really good at what he does and where he is. Don't take him out of that because then you're going to start to be like, oh, maybe he's not as good or, whatever that whatever that conversation might be. But he is great in his role. Keep him there. And it's crazy how one person can change the fourth line. It's nuts.
Yeah. And the fourth line wasn't great tonight at all. It was pretty bad. But like, that's why you have William Nylander signed. Austin Matthews signed. Mitch Marner technically signed as well in the last year of his deal. That 2-on-1 with Marner was him just trying hard to get Nice a goal. I mean, I think ultimately that was a pretty. I will give Mitch Marner credit after that. I mean, the goaltender also overplayed the side with Matthew Nyes on it, but Marner got right back and caused a turnover. So I mean, he's doing the right things out there. He's playing winning hockey, which is something that a lot of fans were on him for. I think Marner's playing winning hockey. He's playing very good hockey. Like most of the guys, and again, we both knew the points are going to come. The goals are going to come for Austin Matthews. They're going to come for every single player. Maybe besides Ryan Reeves, they're going to come, and it's just a matter of what they do come playoff time once we get there. But let's not even. They're playing a brand of hockey that looks a lot more sustainable than previous years. But I don't want to jump the gun with the playoff talk. It's the brand of hockey they're playing, whether or not they make the playoffs. The brand of hockey they're playing so far throughout the season has looked incredible. And I think a lot of that is Craig Berube. I think a lot of that, too, is just the additions of Chris Tanev and OEL, which have been 10 times better than I could have ever imagined through 4 games of the year.
I mean, the blue line is just so much better on paper than last year. But like you said, like when you actually get into the games and we can see what it looks like, great acquisitions. I'm so happy that they're, really fitting into the lineup perfectly because you never really know, right? Like you think that they're going to help out, but are they really? And now that we're seeing it, I mean, it's fantastic. So I'm really happy about that. And the style of hockey that they're playing seems more sustainable, first of all. And when you eventually get to the playoffs, and I'm trying to challenge myself to not constantly mention the playoffs this year. We got to get through the
Same.
regular season and see certain things and milestones and see how they're playing in different segments of the season. But come playoffs, like this is a style that would work way better. You can see it already. Certain things that they're doing. The forecheck is way better. A lot of guys are finishing their checks way more. That I hadn't seen that in the past. Mitch Marner too, that you mentioned, 3 assists tonight. So obviously offensively playing great. I thought he was fantastic again defensively tonight. So and he has been the first 4 games of the year so far. So he's been playing really, really well. I will give it to him, and maybe he's not going to smash it out of the park like we were projecting offensively. But if he continues to do this defensively and maybe adds some more physicality to his game, I think things could be all right. So they're showing some good signs so far. And again, Berube yelling at them tonight, you need that sometimes.
He's speaking right now to the media. He's probably upset, even though they won. We're 6 likes away from 50. If you'd hit that like button. Darius, I think it's time for the 3 stars of the night here.
Yes.
And this is going to be very difficult. So everybody, if you're in here, leave your 3 stars, starting with your 3rd star, 2nd star, or whatever order. You can put the numbers in if you want. The best player, I mean, anybody, coach, could be whatever you want, depending on for tonight. 1st star, 2nd star, and 3rd star. We'll go start. Darius, we'll start with your 3rd star. We'll do my 3rd star, and so on. Leave them in the chat, and let's get it underway. Darius, who is your 3rd star of tonight's game?
So my 3rd star for tonight is, again, another great game, and it's going to be hard to win the net back from him. It's Anthony Stolarz for my 3rd star. He played great again. He was fighting through traffic, and yes, he let in 2 goals, and it looked like, I was really rooting for him to get the shutout, but he played fantastic.
Yeah. This is very difficult. I know my 1st star. I'm going to also go with Anthony Stolarz here. It's really hard for me to do this with an honorable mention to there's so many guys. An honorable mention to Mitch Marner.
A lot of guys.
We're going to go with Anthony Stolarz as my 3rd star with an honorable mention to Mitch Marner, who had a great game once again, 3 assists. But the second and 3rd are tough. I think we both have the same 1st star, but the 3rd star.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, I know who your 1st star is going to be. Okay. 3rd star is Anthony Stolarz. Let's get into the 2nd star because that's the biggest question now. I know mine for sure. I will let you have yours.
My 2nd star of the game will be Bobby McMann because I watch hockey a little bit different and not goals or don't mean everything to me on certain nights. So, and he had great 2 goals and he had a great game. He played great physically as well. And he was, I thought he was flying out there at times too. So great game from Bobby McMann. So it might be a little shocking that I didn't put him first for some people, obviously, because offensively great. But yeah, lots to like from him tonight. Hard to take him out of the lineup at this point, and he is my 2nd star. Nick?
I'm going to go with Austin Matthews as my 2nd star. Got on the board, 2 assists, looked good. Yeah, I mean, I think he had a great game, actually. I mean, you can make an argument for William Nylander here. You could also make an argument for Craig Berube sliding in here, which I think is probably where you're going to go with this in your 1st line, but your 1st star. But I'm going to go with Austin Matthews 2, Stolarz 3, and the 1st star of the game for you, Darius, is
1st star for me is I would put Berube, but he's not a player, so I'm gonna keep it on track here with players. But Berube definitely an honorable mention. But my 1st star tonight is William Nylander because he was driving play. And at times when the power play has not been clicking so far this season, he took it upon himself to get it working. Like there was twice tonight when they scored both those power play goals. The first one, he was like, I'm just going to take this puck here and I'm going to shoot it. Like, that's it. And I know it sounds funny because it's literally as simple as that. And he got on the board, scores again, his 3rd of the season. And then on that last power play, yes, the game is pretty much done, but he's like, hey, let's get the power play going here a little bit. Like, we can't even break into the zone right now. This looks so sloppy. And he took the puck into the zone, set up a nice play, and they ended up scoring a nice goal, John Tavares. So he's going to be my 1st star because he recognized the problem that we can all see, and he said, I'm going to fix this real quick myself. So I like that leadership from him. And he had a great game overall, I think, too. And obviously, a lot of guys to like. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews. But, Nick, who is your 1st star?
Yeah, mine's going to be Bobby McMann. He had 2 goals. I don't know how often he's going to get 2 goals, so I'm just going to give him the 1st star for this game. I guess Nylander would be my 4th star in this case. Probably could have put him in instead of Stolarz. I think at this point, this is almost on brand for Anthony Stolarz. He could have been the 3rd or 1st star in every single game so far this year that he's played in. But yeah, Bobby McMann was, he won can't even say won them the game, but he was a big part of it. But yeah, Nylander, I think, has been the best Maple Leaf so far this year, aside from, you can argue, Anthony Stolarz, but the best offensive player this year has been William Nylander for me. And it hasn't been particularly close. Every single game we've mentioned him, aside from the first game against the Montreal Canadiens where they didn't score any bit anyway. I still think he had a fine game there. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And honorable mention again to OEL. He had a phenomenal game. He's moving. He looks great in the power play one. But yeah, I mean, Austin Matthews 2, Stolarz 3, Bobby McMann 1. But I mean, you could easily put William Nylander in there instead of really any of those guys. I do like Bobby McMann in the one spot though. 2 goals in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's some efficient goal scoring there. He's on track for 4 goals a game over 30 minutes if any player ever did that.
And I mean, he got both of his goals in the first period. So I was thinking in the first intermission, I'm like, he could get a hat trick here like pretty easily the way this game is going, but obviously it didn't work that
Eyes
way.
turned.
But he was asserting himself, like I said, in a lot of different ways. So he had a great game. That's not a bad pick whatsoever. And yeah, Stolarz was great again. I mean, but like you said, status quo. And you've been on the Stolarz train the entire time. He's
Gotta
going to
get
be
a
the
new animation
starter.
for it.
Yeah, and he's going to be the guy, and he's been playing great so far. So it looks like this could be status quo, that he is super solid in the net and a calming presence, which is great. And Chandler, yes, OEL on power play one,
Yes, keep it. They'll keep it
gotta
100%.
stay, gotta stay that way. And I think after tonight, yeah, probably for sure.
Yeah, and what a game. I mean, ultimately, it was fun to watch. It was a little bit interesting at times because they were getting outshot. There were times they were getting outplayed, but they held it down. Anthony Stolarz got a few clutch saves. Could have easily had a shutout or a 1 goal game. The second goal was a bit of a weird one. Could argue
Yeah,
goaltender interference, but they ultimately didn't challenge it. I love that Berube didn't even care about the goaltender interference. He just said, "We're got to play better." I love that.
I love that.
They just put him out there. Mo with Nylander 1, Matthews 2. I think Matthews 2 is a pretty good spot for him tonight,
Yeah,
especially. But I mean, Stolar is 94 save percentage. I mean, 941 save percentage. Sorry. I mean, he's the guy. I think he's the guy going forward, and it's great to have some defensemen that move the puck. The only big question mark now, the only negative I can take away from any of these games, aside from maybe even the first one, is well, it's the same problem as the power play. But I mean, they went 2 for 4, so it's like it didn't look great. But I'm curious to see how the power play specifically does against a team like the New York Rangers, who won't let in easy goals like the Kings goalies did tonight, and David Riddick especially before he got pulled. But
yeah, the Rangers are going to be the test to really start the season. Like we're 4 games in, and the Rangers are going to be the game that you really look at. Like, all right, how do we shape up against one of the better teams in the league, right? Like, are we a top 5 team in the league? Because the Rangers are slated to be that as well. So, I think that they can do it. Like, we know what the recipe for success is if you're the Leafs, right? Against most teams, and especially a team like the Rangers. So they just have to execute. So we're going to learn a lot of things Saturday, I think. But to go back to that moment real quick, like you mentioned with the goaltender interference or whatever, at the second Kings goal, I kind of love how all the players were like looking around and they're like, is this goalie interference? Like that didn't feel right. This was really sloppy. This was a weird play. And Berube calls them all over to the bench. And instead of, challenging or anything, which I don't even know if you could really challenge that the way goaltender interference is going this year in the NHL, but he calls him over and calls a timeout and just absolutely tears the paint off the wall, right? Like I think I like that better than challenging the goal. Like, what are you guys gonna cry about it? Like, oh, it might have been goalie interference. Like we need to get that one back. Like, no, man, you're up 5-2 now. What are you gonna do about it, right? Let's get going again. Let's get skating again. So I kind of like that from him, even if it was goalie interference, just being like, no, I'm not gonna challenge that. Like, you guys got to get skating again. We should win this game pretty handily. So I like that from Berube. I like what I've seen so far this year. I didn't know if he was gonna make that much of a change, and so far looks good.
I don't know if I would have if we would have gotten a Sheldon Keefe 5-2 timeout, and definitely wouldn't have got the yelling. And I mean, ultimately they weren't playing well at that point. They turned it around after that timeout, but they really weren't playing well for the past while of that game. And again, I'm not going to say they weren't playing well. They weren't playing up to the standard that they need to if they want to beat the really good teams. And again, they won 6-2, so obviously it's a lot of positives to take away. It doesn't matter what team; they're all NHL caliber teams. But Berube's standard is not coast by against a team when you're winning. It's keep pushing on it because we've
Mhm.
seen it in the playoffs and obviously the regular season as well. And we've seen it with his time in St. Louis when he won the cup. Like the culture is something that changed. And I think tonight was the first time. Obviously, we know it happens behind the scenes. We've seen it even in the interviews to a degree with the line. He's not afraid to bench players. But tonight was the first time we really saw the change of culture directly on the TV, or if you were in person, I guess on the in real life in the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, everything we've seen so far. I mean, at least they're trying to change it and kind of kick these habits out of them in that way, right? Because, like I said, in that moment specifically, I think Berube's brought a real energy and a real like I don't know what to call it, but this thing behind him this year where he's like, what is this garbage, right?
Yeah.
Like, why you guys like, what is this? I don't understand what you're bringing to me right now. I feel like he's kind of brought that presence, I guess I'll call it, where a lot of, that moment specifically, everyone's kind of looking around all confused. Berube calls him over and like, hey, guys, they just scored 2 goals. Like, we got to get skating again. Like, this is an us issue at this point. We're up 5-2. Let's get going here. Let's get going here. So I like that from him. And he's just got to, he's got to keep doing that with this team because they're just not used to that. They're not used to that. And they built them some pretty bad habits and they got to get away from that. And it's going to take time. They're not going to do it 4 games into the season. So as long as they continue to do that, I've seen some change so far already this year, not only in their play, but obviously the culture. So they have to keep pushing that way. But yeah, I just love what Berube's brought this year, where he's like, what is this? What are you bringing to me right now? Like, I can't understand this and we're not going to do it this way. So I love that so far. Things have to change for them to be able to win and be successful in not only the regular season, right? Because a lot of games last year, they kind of blew for no reason, but in the playoffs too.
Yeah. And it was mainly it's not the ref's fault that it's 5-2. It's not the ref's fault that they're scoring. It's your fault it was a pretty bad Pontus Holmberg play anyways. And whether you want to call it unlucky or not, doesn't matter. Thoughts on Lorentz getting third line minutes and Holmberg and Reeves riding the fourth line while Domi and Tavares had second and third line center covered. I don't hate it. I like the way Lorentz has been playing. Again, he's cooled down on the stat sheet a little bit, but that doesn't really matter. I just love the guy, so I don't even know if I'd say anything negative. I would, obviously, if he was playing terrible, but I think he's doing his job. And again, bad game for the fourth line tonight. Bad game in general from the bottom 6, like we mentioned, and you can see here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to happen at times, and that's why you pay the guys the big money, every single team. That's why teams have guys that they pay them. That's why there's a first, second, third, and fourth line for games like this. Fourth line backs you up some games, and you don't want to rely on a fourth line anyways the whole year, and that's why they have these guys. So I don't hate it. Tavares looked fine. Saying Tavares looks slow. He doesn't look super fast, but that's expected at this point. He's also sick, I believe. I think he was still dealing with some things. So got a power play goal, and that's what he does best, even at this point of his career. And if he can do that, I'll be happy. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the support as well. Yeah, we're getting we hit 50 likes, so thank you guys for that. But yeah, we got you covered with everything, even though it's very late here, past midnight, Ryan.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll probably wrap it up soon. This was a later game. This went very late. Not only the 7:30 start, but I thought it went far later than any other 7:30 start that I remember. But I don't know if I would change up like I said earlier in the stream, like I'm not sure I would touch Lorentz. I like him on the fourth line. I like what he does. Excuse me, specifically on the fourth line. So I don't know if I would touch that. And the third line's seen a lot of guys come in and out so far. So I'm not sure if I would touch Holmberg either. I like him in that third line center position, but I don't know. They're playing with a lot right now because they got a lot of extras too. So I'm not sure what's going to happen a month from now, but we'll see what happens with the lineup. A lot of guys. I have no idea where.
It's a couple weeks.
It's less than a month. Yeah, 2 weeks, I guess, at this point. And the other thing I was going to say is, they are trying to kick these habits now. It takes about 21 days to kick habits, or to make new habits. So obviously I'm very excited for December to see where this Leafs team is then with certain things.
What's up, Kevin? Big win tonight. Buds look pretty good. Past midnight. John, I'm in Newfoundland. Darius is in the Ontario area. Hello from Australia. Really happy.
I'm in Toronto. Leafs Nation.
There you go. Ontario, sure, Toronto, yeah. I have family in Toronto. I go there quite often, but at the moment I'm so it's late for me. It's 12:30 where I am, past midnight. So, but that's fine because the Leafs got a win, and again, I'm used to these late games anyway. So we're gonna be going live for you every single game, every single game we can. You will not see Darius on Saturday, so. Assuming we go live, you'll see a Nick special, a Nick solo special, and one of the biggest games of the year so far. So it makes sense that you're going to it, Darius, but we're gonna miss you in the stream. You can send me some things that you've seen in person that you want me to relay to everybody in chat on Saturday, and it's gonna be super interesting. Hello from Australia. Really happy with our Tendy situation compared to the last 5 to 10 seasons. That's one of the biggest things too, is the goaltender situation. We've been touching on it. Like, it's stable. Does everybody else kind of just feel calm when there's a shot on goal now? I feel like with their defense and with Anthony Stolarz in there, I feel calm. Whereas with Ilya Samsonov and even Joseph Woll to a degree at the start, but mainly Ilya Samsonov, it's a lot scarier. Mo, I'll see you on Saturday. I should be there for the stream, so hopefully you can tune in. And thank you so much for tuning in again. And Have a great evening, Mo, and I'm sure we'll be in touch off stream. But
Thank you, Mo.
thank you for tuning in. And again, we'll see you Saturday. We'll also see you in the video tomorrow, assuming we all tune in to that. Have a good night, Mo.
Well, we'll be here tomorrow. We're here every day for Leafs content. But yeah, Stolarz, like you said, I feel so calm with him in the net. Only a handful of goalies. I think Freddie Anderson, when not in the playoffs, was another player for me, or another goalie for me that I felt confident in like that. But nobody really else other than that. So
Take it easy, Landshark.
thank you for tuning in, Landshark. But yeah, I think he looks really good. And whenever there's a shot, I'm like, oh, that might not go in. When as last year or 2 years ago, I was like, oh, this shot is definitely going in. Like I am so upset that they let this shot go through, which sometimes you just have to. You have to let the goalie see it, and he's got to stop it. But yeah, he's a calming presence back there. I love it.
No problem, CH. Enjoy your night. Good night, Mark. Go Leafs, go. What's up, Jay? Take it easy, Joshua. Enjoy the Ducks versus Utah Hockey Club hockey team game.
They got to change that.
Yeah, they got to fix that one. Yeah, I'll take Darius to spot on the podcast. We're going to be doing call-ins soon, to where after these games, you guys can call in and voice your opinions within reason. We're working on getting that
Let's
set
keep
up.
it PG, guys.
Yeah, there's just been so much happening in the games that obviously as the season goes on in the games, I mean, they'll always be exciting, but we'll get you guys involved in the sense of a call-in. So look forward to that, and hopefully the Leafs. It feels different, Darius. It feels different this year. We can say that every year, but it actually does feel slightly different. 4 games in. 4 games in.
I didn't say that last year. Last year at this point, I was like, all right. I was kind of happy with Matthews, but I was like, I don't know what's changed, right? But this year you can feel it. Like it's just something you can't even put it into, like, obviously you can put it into words, but some of it is just like they're just playing harder, heavier, like in a lot of situations, which I love. And you can't really put that to stats, right? So yeah, I love it so far. I love everything. I knew what Berube was going to try and bring. I think the question was just, is it going to happen? Are the players going to buy in? And so far, a lot of them are.
6 months late for Collins, Shane. We have him. It's just we're finalizing everything, and tonight was a super late game, like wildly late. But I mean, you guys still crushed it with the support. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here? We will have a video for you all like usual tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and we should have the stream Saturday night as well without Darius over there. He'll be again at the game.
I mean, I could probably FaceTime from the game or something. Maybe we could work something out post game.
You could call in.
First call in will be me on stream, but yeah, maybe we could work something out, but probably not. Probably won't be here for that stream, but obviously going to try and make every other game. But I'm going to enjoy that one. I've only been to one Leaf game in the last probably 9 years, so I'm going to enjoy this one. But yeah, thank you, John, again, and thank you everyone for tuning in, because the Leafs are playing well and lots to like, and it's been exciting so far this year. I'm liking what I'm seeing for sure.
Appreciate it, Shane. All right, everybody have a good night, and we'll be back for you if you want more Leafs content at this hour. We had a video earlier today. Overdrive boys are watching you guys. That's interesting. Okay. Shout out, I guess, if you guys are in here. But we got to call in after the game for a quick 3-minute perspective. Darius, you might have to do that. I mean, yeah, we can set it up. Maybe assuming Darius we want Darius to enjoy the game, but I'll do my best to convince him to call in for 3 minutes and say what he saw before he goes from the bus. You made the comment about the bus, maybe from the. We'll see how it goes. See you Saturday, especially for Collins. Shane, I should have them going for Saturday, though I am on my own, so it might be a little chaotic, but maybe that would make sense. I'll work on getting everything set up for Saturday. Good night, Jose. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We are working on it. We want to get this going. We do want to hear from you guys too.
We also have something else in the works that hopefully will be ready by Saturday. It's nothing crazy, but it's pretty.
It's new.
You guys will enjoy it. It's something.
Yeah.
It's something new. Okay, everybody, take it easy. Have a good night, and 60 likes. So thank you guys for that, and we'll have a video for you all tomorrow morning or afternoon around there. Take it easy, and
thank you, everyone.
We will see you guys